Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the episode. It is Nelson Haskin over there, BeBall Jones over here. Everything good, man?
Everything's great, brother. How you been?
Been all right, man. Been all right. Well, I'm be a little transparent right here, man. I hit a sad moment, bro. Like, think about
Why you
LeBron,
sad?
man. LeBron 39, bro. Like, he turns 40 this year. When you think about it, man, he 40 years old, bro. I think this is year 20 for him. He will have spent half of his life in the NBA. And if you think about it, in another world, to where he spent 10 years in the finals. A fourth of his life he spent in the NBA finals. Half of his career he was in the NBA finals. Chris Paul's about 38, 39. Melo's about 38. CP's like, it's all the guys that we grew up watching. They by the time right there, man.
Yeah, bro, that is true. When you think about it, that is true.
So it's like we finally. I'm still young, but like the guys we grew up watching, you start to feel like an old head because it's like my guy ain't in the league no more, man. Like you got to find a new favorite player, and like the whole process is like it's like when you get in a long-term relationship with your girl. Now you got to figure out dating. Like, how do I figure out how to talk to this girl and how do I transition to this new phase of life? But like that's kind of where we at right now, man. To where a lot of the guys we grew up watching, they slowly gonna be out the league, man. So, so I just want to give an opportunity for us to like give certain guys their flowers before they get up out of here, man. Some of the guys, my favorite guys been gone for a minute now. Who are some of the guys that you grew up watching and that got Nelson into the game? You're a big fan of, man, or not necessarily the best guy, but some of your favorite guys that you grew up watching, you love to be a fan of.
I'm kind of like you. My favorite guy been out the league for a while. My favorite guy was Kevin Garnett. I was big on Kevin Garnett, man. He kind of got me into the game. KG, his energy and his motor, his mentality. I used to, I love it. Like it's something about that. Like he almost insane. Like something about it, but that love and that passion for the game is there. And like, man, I love that. I love for people to love the game. I realize that by myself. If you love the game and you play with that love and that passion, I take to that. I respect that. But KG was definitely my guy for a long time. But then, ever since he left the league, I've been a Giannis guy. Most recently, you know that. But if I gotta speak on guys I grew up watching, man, it's gotta be like I said, KG in there. Really, that Celtics team was in there. KG, Rondo, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, those guys. I used to rock out with them on 2K, on the old 2Ks. And I'd have had every 2K since 2K11. So I've been deep in the 2K trenches. So them guys definitely, they none of them in the league no more. So that made me kind of sad. But I definitely, they were some of the first teams I really paid attention to. Big Boston Celtics fan back in those days. I used to really love to watch Tim Duncan, who's no longer in the league, obviously. I'm big on bigs too, I guess you probably realize by now. I'm big on that. And who else? Let me think. I used to love to watch Derrick Rose. Like I feel like a lot of people like that. Derrick Rose, one of them guys that remind us of a simpler time. Like, when Rose was going crazy and the Bulls was number one in the East, it was a different time. Like, he was one of them ones. We all knew it. He was one of them ones. I miss him being like that guy. I'm glad he's still hooping, still got his place in the league, obviously. But, man, back then, that Rose.
It's different, man. It ain't the same.
Man, really, I've not felt that way about a player since. I feel like that's why a lot of people love D Rose so much. Because, like, Rose was one of them guys. He was quiet. He was humble. but he was also like super special, something we had never really seen before. Like we never seen a point guard that fast, that athletic, that could jump that high, could still shoot a little bit. You know, we had John Wall who was like up there like that, who's another guy we grew up watching.
Mm-hmm.
But Rose was just different. I don't know what it was. He was just different than the other guys. And so he I feel like that's what hurts the most. It was like, man, dang, bro, this dude was different, and like we never got to see him like become his full self.
Yeah.
So Rose definitely up there for me too, man. But what about you, man? What's some guys like you just miss playing or miss being like when you grew up watching they were the guys? Who were some of them guys for you?
Yeah, like if anybody listen to this podcast enough and know me personally, everybody knows I'm a Kobe guy. Like that's my guy. That's my all time. That's my guy. So, of course, but rest in peace to him. He's not in the game or with us. Bigger picture in life. So, Kobe, that's my guy. Then D Wade, that's my other favorite player that I grew up watching. Stole a lot of his moves, stole a lot of his game. Um, like you said, D Rose, like I'm very biased towards guys because obviously that's what I am. So, but D Rose, like you said, like he was, I think what made him special, bro, he was electric. His playing style was so electric and so in engaging that you don't even have to be a basketball fan per se, like how we are, to like him in his game. Because like you see him on the court, but then you hear him in interviews, it's like, oh, he has a perfect blend of like dynamic talent and greatness, but humility and humbleness to like you can tell he get out the mud and he really worked for his, you know what I mean? So he had a perfect blend to where it's easy to be a fan of his. He had a certain ick factor. That's what his ick factor was to an extent. So of course I'm a D Rose guy. Like you said, nobody's seen anything like him since then. And I feel like I don't know exactly he was our generation's Grant Hill. I think that's the way we feel about D Rose is how the generation before us probably felt about Grant Hill. I'm not
That's
saying he would have been an all-time great, but the connection we have to be like he could have been like he was Westbrook before Westbrook. He would have been like Steph Curry and changed the game in a way. Like I feel like that's the way we feel about him. So like you look at him on paper and it's like he ain't do nothing. You don't understand, bro. You had to be in the moment to watch him. So
Man, you really do. You had to have been there because that was the only way to know. Like you had to, because there's no other way to see it. You had to have
yeah,
really been there to watch the game.
yeah. The only thing that you can credit him for is that MVP in like his third year. I think that's the only thing to really be like. That's the one thing like statistically to be like objectively be like he was special. You know what I mean? So. But yeah, D Rose is up there. Westbrook, I'm a Westbrook guy still currently. Dame is my current favorite guy. Him and Westbrook, I teeter with them two as a 1 and 1A. CP3, I'm a big CP3 guy. Um, that's just a few, man. But I can probably ramble on and on about a lot of guys, man. Like you mentioned, John Wall. He's one of my guys that I grew up watching and love. He was he was special, but like you said, it didn't hit home for me like D Rose did. But he was electric guard. He was like you said, athletic and everything. Played both ends of the floor. Um, who else, man? All I can think of for real right now, man, of guards that I just players I grew up watching, man, that just hit a certain space for me. It's not necessarily the best players, but our favorites that we grew up and loved to watch. Cause like, for example, LeBron was one of the guys we grew up watching, but he's not necessarily my favorite. I didn't feel a connection to him in his game that tied me to him. You feel me? So love LeBron. I respect his game. He's one of the GOATs, but I just not my favorite personally. So but anybody else came to mind for you, man, that you just a big fan of and you just grew up loving to
Uh,
watch?
um, in the OKC days, I could say Kevin Durant. I still enjoy watching Kevin
Ooh,
Durant, obviously, but in the OKC days, the young Kevin Durant, he was different.
yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely had a strong like for Kevin Durant with the way he. I like how skinny he was, but he was still like a killer, Slim Reaper,
Mm-hmm.
and I can relate to that being skinny, still trying to get off or whatever. But
Yeah.
I remember I remember telling people I was like before KD was like the KD we know now with the MVPs and stuff. I was telling people, I was like, Kevin Durant is like unfair. Like, because I remember he used to do moves. Like, I remember the size up he got is in 2K. So the size up he got with the long, like, hezzy crossovers where he like kind of just kind of hang with the ball and like make a move. And then he'll just pull up out of it. I used to go practice that, like, and pick up. Like, I used to be at at the Theo, my local gym, and I used to like be in front of people doing this. And I used to pull up, but I could never pull up clean. And I used to be like, how is he doing that at 7 foot? His pull up used to be so smooth and over the top, and nobody could block it. It was crazy. So the OKC days, I definitely was like a big, like, I used to watch KD a lot. And then, he went to go to state and that kind of changed. But, that's besides the point. But I used to enjoy Paul George in the Indiana days. The Paul George Indiana days were like an underrated time because like PG in Indiana was almost out after the Celtics kind of died off. They were like the biggest threat to Miami making it to the finals with LeBron and D Wade and them. And the LeBron versus PG stuff used to be crazy. And like I remember PG dunked on Birdman and put Birdman in the rim. Like some of y'all, but our younger viewers probably don't even know who Birdman is. Like y'all don't know what. Right, y'all probably don't even know what NBA player that is. Paul George Paul George put Buddy in the rim. I'm talking about bad, and he fell. But it was George Hill, Paul George, Lance Stevenson, David West, Roy Hibbert. Man, like I remember the whole lineup. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. So
you remember Danny Granger?
Danny Granger was one of them guys too that was good for a while till he started getting hurt. He was good for a while. Like that time, like it's different now. Like the way the league is, it's crazy how different the league is now. But back then, there were a lot of competitive teams. Like like we say LeBron, the East was weak or whatever back in them days. We say that, but in reality, there were some tough teams everywhere. Because back in them days, you had Carmelo with the Knicks, and you had Melo, Tyson Chandler, Amon Shumpert, J.R. Smith. All of them was with the Knicks. Then, you had Miami with LeBron and D-Wade and them. You had Indiana with Paul George, Danny Granger when he was healthy, Roy Hibbert, David West. All them guys was good. Yeah, you still had John Wall over there in Washington with a young Bradley Beal. That was good. And then you had D. Rose in Chicago with Joakim Noah, Defensive Player of the Year, Carlos Boozer, Kirk Heinrich, guys like that, Lou Alding. Like, then you still had Kobe and them in the West. Kobe, Pau Gasol, Andrew Bynum. They were still over there in the West. The Celtics were still the Celtics for some of them years, and then, they fell off. And then, the league had teams. Like, there were lineups of good players. And so now the league is like a lot more star driven. Like it's like who got the most stars now. It's like we got this many all stars and some role players. That team probably gonna win championships. So that's how the league kind of set up now. But back then you really didn't know who was gonna win it all. Like we assumed Miami was gonna win it all, but then Dirk and them pulled it out. And in the first roll around, we was like, dang. And like we was kind of shocked by that. Then Miami won 2 years in a row. And then the Spurs pulled one out. The Spurs still had Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. Then young Kawhi Leonard came up. There was teams in the league. It wasn't just star-driven like powerhouses or super teams, whatever folks want to call it. And despite what people say about Miami is a super team, yes, by definition, but there were so many teams of talent. The league was just different. That's just a different feeling. That's all I can say.
Yeah, like I'm trying to put myself back in that time where Miami, we felt very comfortable about saying they had a good path to the finals. Like we weren't just like obviously going to be like Miami's sweeping everybody, knocking them out. But I think we really had like two teams that we seriously gave a chance to have a chance to knock them out, and that was The Bulls when D Rose was right, and
Right.
then the big one to D Rose, but the rest of the team was right and healthy too, because Joakim Noah had issues and stuff. But
Right.
also when you look at the Pacers, we all like, man, they so close and they can just develop a little bit, get healthy. Let Danny Granger come back and get healthy, and they figure out this dynamic and Lance Stevenson and this and this and that. And it's like, man, they got an opportunity to take it somewhere that we haven't seen before, because they were like either number one, they are like a top 3 or 4 defensive team in the league, not just in the East, but in the league. And I was back in the day when defense mattered and you still had 7-footers playing 7-footers. They was bigs. Back when Andrew Bynum and Paul Gasol, you still had Twin Towers back in the day. So basketball didn't change since then, bro. Like, I sound like one of the OGs saying that, bro. Like,
Man, but the game to change so much in just like 10 years is crazy.
Yeah,
But
like back in our day, we had 2 7-footers in the game and they was playing down low. Like, it was 10 years ago, bro. But that's crazy how much time changed in 10 years, man. But yeah, those were fun times, man. Like, we looked at it as like LeBron going to the finals, but like looking back at it, it was like it wasn't as easy as you try to paint the scene. Like the media tried to paint the scene like it was just LeBron in the finals. I don't know who he going
like
against,
it
but
was
just
just a
LeBron in the
cakewalk.
finals.
All right.
Like I think that's some of that LeBron slander, but that's another conversation for another day, man. But you made me think about too, man. Let me think about Ben Gordon. Remember him?
Ben Gordon. That name from what team you play for?
He was with the Bulls. It was before D Rose got there. So it was like Kirk Heinrich, Ben Gordon, Luol Deng, who was the big? I think Joakim Noah might have been there around that time, but he was like automatic bucket. Like he'd give you a 50 ball in his sleep, bro. He was like come off the bench 50, like in his sleep, bro. Like he was a cold bucket, bro. Like his issue with the Bulls was like him and Kirk Heinrich was 6'3", so it was basically an undersized backcourt, So that was kind of the
Yeah.
issue. But Ben Gordon, bro, he was cold, man. When he brought that old Bulls team, like he was there. Rose drafted like 08, 09, so he might have been gone by then. Like he was part of that gap period where D Rose went there, but he was cold, bro. He was a bucket.
What you know who I think about in them times, like as an undercover bucket that I think people forget about? Brandon Jennings.
I ain't
Like
forgot about B Jennings. I ain't forgot
B
about him.
Jennings. Oh my goodness. First off, for those who don't know, one of the best hoop mixtapes ever. Like we no longer in the hoop mixtape era.
Yeah,
Kids that's watching this now today. Back in the day, there before the times of what's it called?
Ball is
Not
life.
Ball is Life and Claxton Breakdown, whatever, overtime, before all of that, there was a thing called hoop mixtape. And the best players in the nation got one. And only the best of the best. And 9 times out of 10, those guys that was on hoop mixtape end up going big time D1, Kentucky, Kansas, whatever, Duke. They usually end up going to those places and they end up being in the NBA. And Brandon Jennings, who y'all might not know, may or may not remember, had one of the best. And he
Mm-hmm.
still like automatic bucket, skinny, probably like 6'2" point guard. When
Yep.
I tell you, like, can't nobody stay in front of him, like pats, like step back and like off either foot, good. Like he get into the rack, everything. Brandon Jennings was one of them ones like slept on,
Yeah.
heavily slept on, but mostly because he played in Milwaukee most of his career, and that was before Milwaukee was very relevant. So,
Yeah.
but Brandon Jennings one of them guys for me that I was like, man, he one of the ones you had to be there for because they don't talk
Yeah.
about him.
Bro, he put up 55 his rookie year. You remember that?
That's insane. Yes, I remember that.
50, a double nickel in your rookie year, bro. Like, that's crazy, man. And like the thing that made him like he I hate the concept, but he wasn't like a basketball player where you could put him in the box. He was a hooper, bro. It was like getting him the ball, let him work. Like
You got to
I
just
ain't
let
drawing
him
no
go.
play. Just let him go. He's kind of like a Jamal Crawford type, where it's like a play for who? For him? Oh, cool. Me to give me the ball, let me cook. Like I think what messed
Set
him
the
up, man.
screen.
They just set a screen. If I call for a screen, set it. Besides that, just get out the way. Like a play. What? Forget that, bro. We ain't doing that. Like,
Tell you
but
what.
I think that hurt him too because he never found the right coach. I just let him work. You know what I mean? He didn't have a players coach that understood a hooper. Like you didn't fit in the system what I want to do, so I don't want you. Or you're not a good player, or here's a locker room issue. It's like I can't cook, bro. Like he trying to draw up plays and stuff, and that ain't really my style and game. Like you don't get too many hoopers on your team, bro. Like when you have a hooper,
Facts.
you gotta don't let him off leash. There is no leash. Like there's none existent with him. Like you cook, and now me putting you on a leash is me saying pass the ball right quick. Now when you do your when the ball in your hands, you cook, you work, but you gotta find that balance between. That's why Jamal Crawford and Chris Paul work so well. They have a balance to where CP let him cook, bro. Do your thing. All right, cool. Run a play, get the ball to CP, and now everybody else getting orchestrated involved. But you have a Hooper by himself with no point guard. That's where the issue kind of comes in. But like Hooper, do your thing, and we'll figure out the rest. You know what I mean? But CP was a Hooper in mind and heart. He's a Hooper too, so he understood. So there wasn't no fights about that. But Brandon Jennings, bro, special. Like is he a lefty? Lefties are different, man. Like
Lefty.
oh man, but
Tell you.
you made me think. You made me think about somebody else, bro. Now you gotta be a real hooper from my generation, though. Who I'm finna bring up, bro. When you brought up the Carmelo Knicks, probably I think a fan favorite from everybody was Steve Novak.
Steve
Discount double
Novak
check,
had to be there. Had to be there. Steve
bro.
Novak.
He was a whole character, bro. Like it was so much fun knowing about Steve Novak, bro. Like I think Aaron Rodgers started it, and he just kind of ran with it. I don't remember exactly who started or whatever, but like one of them started, and the other one took off and ran with it. But like every time he hit three or the game winner, he just come down the court. Like I like you, bro. Something about you I just like, man. He lit people up,
Man,
bro. That three ball was crazy for him. But Steve
I'm
Novak's
talking
one
about
of them guys, so
knockdown.
I was a big fan of him, bro. Like he wasn't the best player. He was a really good shooter for his time, but he wasn't just like Steph Curry type of guy. You know what I mean? But he had to be there to know Steve Novak, bro. I loved him.
Promise you. And I think one of the teams that like exemplify that time period in the league, other than like the LeBron Miami days, I feel like the LeBron Miami days is kind of like the tag for our generation. You know,
Yeah.
kind of like our folks, our pops generation, or whatever. The Jordan Bulls is like their team for their
Mm-hmm.
generation. And I feel like LeBron Miami days is like our team for our generation, because like that was like where we was like completely locked in on basketball, or whatever, for most people
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
age. But a team that really exemplified that time to me, the Lob City Clippers. Like that was one of them teams that was like didn't do nothing, didn't accomplish nothing, didn't go to no finals, didn't win no Western Conference finals, nothing. Had a great team though. Chris
Mm-hmm.
Paul, Jamal Crawford, JJ Redick, Blake
Mm-hmm.
Griffin,
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Jordan, all in their prime. Jamal Crawford coming off the bench, Matt Barnes coming off the bench, had everything you needed. And they throwing lobs, like we call them Lob City for a reason. The lobs they was throwing was like the best way to put it. I remember Chris Paul was talking about how he played with Clint Capella when he was at
The
not Clint
Rockets.
Capella. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah, my fault. It was Clint Capella. Yeah, yeah, you're right. When he was with the Rockets, he was talking to Clint Capella. He told this story one time on a different interview. And he was like, Clint Capella came to him. He was like, Chris, why you don't throw me the oops like you used to do for DeAndre? And Chris said, you gotta realize, man, when I threw them oops to DeAndre, all I had to do was keep it in the arena, and he was gonna dunk it. I said,
Yeah.
boy, that's true though.
Yep.
That's true. Cause them
Yep.
boys made more highlight plays for one team than I had ever seen. Between Blake Griffin dunking on like Kendrick Perkins and Pau Gasol, and like man, they was catching bodies like day after day. And then DeAndre Jordan with the dunk on Brandon Knight. It was,
Oh
I'll tell
man.
you,
Oh.
them boys made more highlights than I've ever seen one team make. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Like
What?
you got to break it down even deeper levels too. So position by position, you got DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin dunking on everything in the arena, like Chris Paul said. Like those are all like the supreme athletes of the time, bro. And like you said, like the trust that Chris Paul had with them was like anywhere in the arena, they'll figure it out. Clint Capella ain't on that level. I love Clint, but you ain't on that level, bro. Like, nah. So that's the dunk factory right there. Then you got to think about it. Had a Josh Smith for a couple years, and he won
Oh
really.
yeah.
He won Atlanta Hawks Josh Smith. I'm gonna get back to him in a minute too. But he won
Facts.
Atlanta Hawks Josh Smith. So, and all right. Now, next level is JJ Redick splashing everybody with a 3 ball. Not the most exciting thing, but as a hooper, you respect that and you appreciate it. So now, my personal favorite was Jamal Crawford, CP3 breaking everybody off. Like, so you finna give some ankle breakers left and right with Jamal Crawford coming out with the street ball handles and everything, and Chris Paul coming with the surgical street ball handles where it's just like the ball on the string, the yo-yos, and everything he was doing, bro. And that was special to watch too, bro. Like that's what made that team so dynamic because you have guard highlights between CP and Jamal Crawford. Then you go on the other end of it where DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin shoot throwing lobs to each other and they dunk on everybody, bro. Like, oh, you got to pick and roll or pick and pop. Or they had a horns play, I think, at some point where I'll come off the screen, I'll pick and pop to you. But both of them such good passes, willing passes to where I catch it. If I don't have this option, I know I'm coming across to you. And like I remember I forgot who was talking about it, but like that team was so in sync, bro. After the first year, everything was just like that. So they already understood. Once he hit this motion, I go here. This next movement is here, and then everything just flowing, moving, bro. And that team was like you said, it was a team walking highlight. Like the closest thing we probably seen to it might have been a Miami Heat team, but
Facts.
it wasn't close to them, bro. Because I think one of the coldest highlights from that team was actually alley oop where Jamal Crawford came down from the fast break out the blue, bro. I don't think he told buddy, but he went between the legs, threw out the backboard. I think it might have been Blake Griffin. He threw out the backboard to him. He caught it, windmilled it, and dunked it in. I'm like, bro,
No, that one
bro.
between the leg. He threw it between the legs like that, and it just went straight to Blake. Like it went out the back, boy. He just threw it between the legs to Blake. Blake was
Oh
running
yeah,
behind him. I know exactly what play you talking about. And it's crazy because like there was somebody down there on defense. Somebody was there. Jamal was just like, nope. Just trying to stop that one. Blake caught the ball like
yeah,
it was crazy.
yeah. That team was special and fun to watch, bro. Like they just like you said, who could we call equivalent like that to? Um, maybe the Sonics from back in the day, maybe the GP and Sean Kemp, maybe.
Yeah, that's something like that. But in terms of like athleticism and like highlight plays, I don't know. Like that's one of the most highlight producing teams I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah,
like it's hard to even equivalent it to somebody else. Like they dunking on somebody every other night, or Jamal might cross somebody, or Chris Paul might cross somebody. Chris might hit a fake pass and like break the team down some, or like a
mm-hmm.
flashy pass that led to a dunk, something like it. Anybody, any given night might have gave you a highlight play that was gonna be
Yep,
ESPN top 10. It was
yeah,
must see TV because boy.
yeah. That was a special team, man. Dang, bro. Like this is giving a lot of nostalgia right now, bro. I cut it.
Yeah.
Oh, let's give a lot of nostalgia, man. Man, man, I can't do this without talking about my guy, bro. It's two guys I think about from back in the day we grew up watching. I mentioned Josh Smith, but I gotta mention the guy for the Hawks for all them years, bro. To this day, still one of my favorite two guards, ISO Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson,
One
a
of
killer.
the coldest hoopers. And he's probably like, I don't know. We gonna get into this later, but he probably one of my favorite two guards, bro. Not necessarily one of the best, but one of my favorites that I grew up watching, bro. Like he was just cold with it, bro. Like he was about 6'7", 6'8", maybe, bro. Like had the boogie with the handles, and he just like so smooth. He wasn't super fast. He wasn't super athletic, but he was just able to get a bucket over anybody and everybody, bro. Like, oh my goodness, bro. Joe Johnson was special. Like,
Man, one of them ones. One of
that was
them
my guy.
ones. And this how cold Joe is. We call him ISO Joe for a reason. Joe's so cold in isolation, one-on-one basketball, like just hooping. He's so cold. This man was out the league and played in the Big Three, Ice Cube's Big Three, where they actually play 3-on-3. A lot of retired players in there, still Steven Jackson and Catino Mobley and some other guys. This man Joe was out the league for a year, hop in the Big Three, get to cooking these dudes. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about cooking. I seen the highlight reel of him in the Big Three. These boy can't stay in front of Joe. He out here like shifty, still shifty.
Yeah.
I know he got to be at least 36, maybe older. He got
I
to
think
be
he might be
around
older.
that. Like Joe, like not young. That's why he wasn't in the league. Nobody assigned him. He go to the Big Three, and they see how shifty he is. He's still getting body dude. Like granted, they ain't in the NBA or nothing, but they NBA players, former NBA players. He killing them. And then
Mm-hmm.
he got re-signed, got picked up in the league. They was like, yeah, I think he still got it. Joe getting buckets. Prime Joe Johnson was like, man. And that Atlanta Hawks team was another one of those special teams that didn't really accomplish nothing. Like that Atlanta Hawks team, people forget the Atlanta Hawks at one point some years ago had an almost all-star lineup of all-stars. It was Jeff Teague, who was another underrated guard at his time. Jeff Teague was good in that time period. It was Kyle Korver, one of the best shooters of all time, probably top 10 if we was to rank him. Then Damari Carroll, who didn't make an All-Star team, but he was star. He was one of those like 3-and-D guys. Then you had Paul Millsap, who's still in the league. He was All-Star level Paul Millsap at this time, though. And then Al Horford, who's still in the league
Mm-hmm.
for the Celtics, still doing his thing. But Al was in his prime then. He was All-Star level big. That Hawks team was cold. And Jeff and Joe, before Joe Johnson got traded to Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
it was Joe instead of Kyle Korver. And Joe was running the show. But that's a solid team to have around. But like Joe was that guy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then you mentioned Josh Smith. Josh Smith was there too. Between them two and Al Horford and Jeff Teague, that was like one of the ones like you ain't know who's gonna give it to you, but somebody finna get off.
Nah,
And
it was a team before that, bro. Like I'm talking about the Mike Bibby. You remember Mike Bibby was the point guard there? It
oh
was like
yeah,
I think it was Speedy Claxton. We're going deep in our bad now, but Speedy Claxton was the point guard. And he fell off. Then they brought Bibby in. I think it was another point guard before Bibby or after him, something like that. But I remember Mike Bibby. Then you had Joe at the 2, Josh Smith at the 3, 4, and they might have had Al Horford at the 5. But I remember Josh Childress.
I remember him too.
Whoa, Josh
Absolutely,
Childress was cold. So that was kind of the rotation of the main 6. Oh, Marvin Williams. That's who it was. Marvin Williams.
I remember him.
And he was at the 3, 4. So it was like him and Josh Smith kind of playing that 3, 4 bounce between those two. And Al Horford was at the 5. So it was like Bibby, Joe, Josh Smith, and Marvin Williams. Nope, I'm lying. It wasn't Al. Because I remember it was 2 Smiths or 2 Williams. And it was Sheldon Williams.
I remember him too.
Remember Sheldon? So he was a Dookie. So it was
Mm.
Sheldon Williams, a mix between Marvin and Josh Smith at the 3, 4, Joe Johnson at the 2, and then Bibby at the 1. That team was a team that was really prime Joe Johnson that put him on the map. That was like put him on the map, put Atlanta on the map, so we had to respect him and ATL. Josh Smith probably the best basketball he played, and probably Josh Childress' best years. That's probably a lot of those guys' best years, man. But
Yeah,
that team, that's when he was going head to head with LeBron and Miami, and I think maybe a little bit of Cleveland too. He was giving Kobe buckets back in the day, man. Like that was around 07, I'm thinking about maybe 06,
yeah.
07,
Them the old
8
days.
back in the day, bro. Like when I tell you that was a fun team to watch. Then us being down here in the South, we ain't got a pro team in Bama, but that's the next door cousin. So kind of by osmosis, that was like low key some of our favorite teams in a way, kind of just because they're so close. So I remember I went to a couple of the games or preseason games and stuff, man. It was just fun to watch them, bro. But Joe Johnson, bro, to this day, bro, he's still one of my favorite two guards, bro. Like, I hope we see a clip of this or something today. Like, he wanted special guys. I want to give him some flowers, bro. It's like, I
Low
respect your
key.
game, bro. Like, he ain't one of the greatest, but he one of my favorites, bro. Like, you did something to me, bro. I respect your game, man. Like, I love the
Hey,
Johnson
man.
game, bro.
No, it definitely was tough. It definitely was. Like the league has a handful of guys every year or like over time that are like legit bucket getters that like just might not accomplish a whole lot. Like I feel like
Mm,
10, 15 years down the line, we probably gonna be saying the same thing about Brad Beal.
mm,
Brad Beal gonna be so like Joe Johnson was like Bradley Beal before Bradley Beal. Like the league always had them guys years like over the years who was legit buckets, got everybody respect, everybody know they can hoop, but you gotta watch them to know because they might not be actually accomplishing a whole lot team wise. Like their team
yeah,
might not go far in the playoffs or they might be in a small market or whatever. But you know, if you a hooper or a hoop head and you watch the games, you know, because
mm-hmm.
you got to see it, and you know the eye test gonna tell it all, really. And you know, you might look it up and be like, "Oh, Joe Johnson only averaged 16 for his career." I'm just making that up, but like
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure the numbers probably don't back up what we saying how good he was. But his prime years, like if you watched it, the eye test will let you know like this dude was legit. So
That's what's missing, the eye test. People get too caught up in numbers and stuff because we can easily go back and watch it. But the eye test is what separates hoopers to basketball fans and like the other people. I don't know what to call them, but it's just the other people.
Twitter,
But
Twitter,
yeah. But
but
another guy I want to get some flowers to real quick is it's so many guys, but I'm gonna try to do it real quickly. But Gilbert Arenas, Agent Zero, I was a
definitely
big
one of
fan of
the
him.
ones.
He was special. He was Steph Curry and Dame before Steph Curry and Dame. Um, he was he had their range in Westbrook's body, but not as athletic as Westbrook. But like imagine Westbrook's body with Steph Curry type shooting, and almost Dame was probably the perfect similarity between Gilbert Arenas like now, cause like
I feel like that he had that athleticism too.
yeah, he's I don't say no nonsense, but he was like, I ain't finna sit here and keep playing with you. Once I killed you, I'm getting the bucket. Like Dame ain't finna sit here and try to like Kyrie kind of play with his food a little bit before he eat. Gil, like I'm crossing you up to get a bucket. In a discussion. If I can get a bucket, I'm getting a bucket. Whether it's 40 feet back, a dunk in your face, layup, whatever. I just want a bucket. I don't care how I get it. I'm cooking, I'm eating, I ain't playing with you. That's it. So
I'm cooking on E.
but that
Oh
was a
man.
good game, bro. It kind of reminded me of Dame, so I gotta get that part of similarity. Um, Brandon Roy, D.
Ooh,
Roy,
man, another one of them guys we never got to see fully develop.
man, like here's the thing I kind of do as a litmus test, bro. When you get the Kobe sign of approval of respect, you same thing back in the day with Jordan. Once Jordan kind of stamped certain guys of being like he was a Jordan probably never gave anybody enough credit. Be like he was an issue. He could have like Clyde Drexler was somebody he gave respect to. Mitch Richmond, somebody he gave respect to. But like it wasn't too many guys to get the Jordan step of approval from guys in the '90s. Same thing for Kobe. T Mac and B Roy are one of the few guys got like I gotta ready to play against you. Like okay, all right.
I got to
The
really
backup,
play.
I gotta really be Kobe right now. Other guys, I can be kind of cold, not really. It's 30 in my sleep. But you,
You got to
I
get the
got five.
mamba.
You got to get Black Mamba. Like I got to really play my game right now. So, but Brandon Roy, one of them guys, bro. Like if you watch that man once again, the eye test, bro, special. Like I just miss we didn't get a chance to see him, man. So, yeah, that's probably the two guys I got to shout out for sure before we get out of this episode. And I love J Kidd, Steve Nash, one of my other favorite guards growing up. Um,
Thanks.
but yeah, man, this is there's so many more guys you could probably name. We only have for 3 hours trying to name everybody, man. But
Just going on about the
Gilbert,
old days.
But yeah, those are some of the guys that I just loved to watch growing up, man. Like Sean Marion, he was the Matrix. Amari Stoudemire dunk on everybody. Like, oh man,
Oh
I miss
yeah,
them old days.
I forgot about Amar Stoudemire. Amar Stoudemire used to be one of them guys too that I watched a lot when I was playing. Cause when he was playing in New York, with the Knicks,
Mm-hmm.
I was in middle school, and people had started calling me Amar Stoudemire because I wore the goggles, and like people were saying that, and I started actually watching, bro, and I was like, Amar Stoudemire might not be so bad. Like Amar Stoudemire was getting off, boy. He was tough. He was underrated.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was. The thing is crazy about him. He was only like 6'9", 6'10", really. But the
Yeah.
way he played, you would thought he would be like 6'11", 7 foot, because he was like when you see him in the air, you're like, oh, no, he got to be up there with Dirk 7 foot, KG 7 foot. Nah, bro, he got a couple inches on me. I just jump over everybody.
I'm gonna just get over you real quick.
Like I jumped 7 feet off the ground, but I'm not 7 foot tall. Like that's how Amari Stoudemire was. But he was one of them guards too. He might be one of the most underrated big men from my generation. I think
Oh,
about it.
yeah, that's valid. I think that's valid. Like,
He
he's
might
not
be
gonna be
number
a Hall
one.
of Famer or nothing, but he definitely
Nah,
underrated.
yeah, he might be. Now I have to really sit down and think about it, but he might be the most underrated guy from our generation. Like growing up, at least from that era. Like that's different, bro. Like, that was one of them guys, man. Let me think of somebody else. Chauncey Billups, got to get him some love. That whole
Oh, yeah,
the old school Bad Boys 2.0 team, Chauncey, Rip, Tayshaun, the Wallace brothers, even though they ain't real brothers, but Rasheed and Ben, like
the
that
Wallaces.
was a fun team.
Man, yeah, them boys, real lock up defense. Plenty of length on that team that I think people forget about. The length on that team was crazy.
Yeah,
Between Tayshaun Prince, stupid long arms, Rasheed Wallace, pretty long and athletic, more athletic than people give him credit for, and Ben Wallace, long and strong.
hmm
They was some dogs, and
yeah,
I am the type of person I can appreciate dog.
yeah, yeah,
Got that dog in them. So
yeah,
you don't go toe to toe with Shaq and Kobe if you ain't got a little dog in you. So
yep,
they definitely had that. But man, it's crazy how like you said, the league just didn't change so much. It's still a couple guys like still kicking it from that time. We mentioned Russ, he's still playing. Bron obviously still Bron. D Rose still in the league, he hanging on. But other than them guys, like most of the guys we done named, they gone, man. They all doing their own thing. So but I'm glad, we had opportunity, give them their flowers and stuff for making our childhood, making us fall in love with the game. They part of our memories of basketball. So I think that's
yeah,
still.
yeah, man. It's so many players that I guarantee by the time we get done, we cut us off recording, we're gonna be like, dang, I wish I could have thought about him, brought him up, and
Most likely.
I forgot about him, man. Like, uh, shoot, I'm trying to run through the finals teams real quick, like all the players, like Dwight Howard in his prime, like Orlando Magic, Dwight Howard, Rashard
Hedo
Lewis, he
Turkaloo.
Turkaloo. Hedo what, bruh? If
Oh,
Hedo was in today's game, hands down
he'll be that.
MVP caliber, he'll be that guy. I mean, one of the best players in the league. He was ahead of his time. That's all I'm saying. He
He
was
was ahead
super
of
ahead
his
of his
time.
time, bro. He got
Hedo
appreciated back
Turkaloo.
then.
I
Oh
used to
my
go
god.
crazy with him on 2K2. Hedo
Oh, I used to have him as point guard. I sent Jameer Destin down some days, and I had him run point guard. Like I forgot which game it was, but some game had his handles weak as crap. So he would turn the ball over. So that year I ain't have him, but like, I had to change the stats a little bit, get him up there because he ain't that bad. But like the next year it got better, so I actually had him as point guard. So I was like, okay, cool. So I had him at the one. He's like 6'10". JJ Redick at the two. Mikael Peters over there. They had Matt Barnes on that team. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna name people. Nobody know who Mikael Peters is, bro. Like,
facts.
we here.
Yeah.
Like Mikael
I
Peters
remember.
on that team. Rashard Lewis, Turk, Dwight, Adonna Foyle. Like, bruh, like, man, like that team was fun, bro. That was a good team to watch, man. But Turk,
Turk
I
was
wish
one
he
of
could
the
have played
ones.
into the game. I wish he could play in today's game, man. Cause
Man, he really might be on like almost like Luka Doncic type level, like that type of player. He might not have been as good as Luka, but like he definitely
Yeah,
would have had that type of game, and we would have
yeah,
respected. You know what I'm saying? He definitely would have got off today, the way he
yeah,
played. The game was so different back then.
yeah. I think he might have been like a number one. He would have been a combination between, like you said, Luca and a Draymond type, to where like he's the point forward of a team. The offense runs through him, and
Yeah,
I don't think he would have been the best player, but he would have been like kind of like how Joe Canoa was, where he had opportunity to be the best player on the team. He was never really like the guy, but he would have a great enough season or run to be like MVP conversation. Okay, all right, you can. All right,
he doing his thing.
oh, he balled. Okay, cool, but will he actually be the guy? Like I don't know, but the way the game plays today, man, he was special to where he would have been in certain talks to where he would have got a more praise and respect now, man. But that's one of the guys, man, that he was way ahead of his time, bro. At least 10 years, because that was '09. They were in the finals, I think, against the Lakers. So at least 10 years before he was should have been in the league, man. But he do special, man. Shout out to Turk.
Shot man, crazy. And another guy that you just reminded me of, we like you said, we're gonna be doing this all night. When you said point forward, you know who might have been like the real like first point forward that we don't really talk about?
We might be thinking the same play. Go ahead.
Boris Diaw. Boris Diaw used to be a point forward. He was probably like six
Yeah.
seven ish,
Yeah,
six
about
eight.
6'7", 6'8". Yeah, yeah.
Big body, like when
Yep.
some people would say fat, but he wasn't fat. Big body, you know, that's just how he was
Yep.
built. Had like a
Yep.
little slight quickness to him.
Yep.
Pass, facilitating. Was Draymond Green before Draymond Green?
Yep.
Like Boris Diaw, man, that's one of the ones that people forget about. Like,
I love Boris Diaw, bro. I remember him with
man,
the Hawks. He didn't get a real shot with them because they was all right. Went to the Spurs. That's when that man blew up and he got that bag. Like the
man.
Spurs was the perfect fit for him, bro. Like Boris, he brought
He
back
was,
with Boris, bro.
but the Boris that he was part of some. He was some of the part of the reason people be talking about, man. Like they passing the ball like the Spurs. They facilitate like the Spurs. You know how people get to swing real fast. Boris
Yeah.
Diaw is part of that. Tony
Yep.
Parker and Boris Diaw, them guys, is they the way they facilitate. Part of the reason we think of the Spurs, when we think about the Spurs, we think about ball movement and stuff.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
big body forward could get to the rim, kick out any kind of way, whatever you need, and
Yep.
he go hit the open man, and he can knock down the tray ball. Like
Yep.
tell you
Yep.
what, one of them
I knew.
ones.
Hey, we was here, bro, because I was like, you said point forward again. I was like, you finna say Boris, ain't you? I like we probably on the same page. As soon as you said it,
But
boy, I love Boris Diaw, bro. Like, cause
crazy.
he was a hooper, but he gave off the illusion that he didn't care at all either. But that's part of the Frenchman in him too. Like he'd be so laid back and cool. They tell stories about how he'll roll up and practice stuff with flip flops and stuff. He come with a cup of tea and stuff. He'd be like so laid back and chill. What's up, guys? And go out there and drop everybody off with 20 assists in the first 5 minutes. Like, bro, hold on, bro. Like, can we get warmed up first, bro? You throwing the ball in my face. I ain't even see. But Boris was cold, bro. He was probably like
Tell you.
he in a Turkaloo lane, like being like you said before, the point forward type of guy who was a little ahead of his time, man. But Boris Diaw, bro, like, oh my goodness, man, that was fun to watch, bro. But
Man,
oh,
there
I'm
was
trying to think
times
of
he was
somebody.
at the four. He was at the four. Tim Duncan used to be at the five, and he's still like handling the ball, facilitating and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
with
point
with
forward.
Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili in the game, like, oh, I'm in the point guard right now. I'm gonna rebound, everybody push and running. All right, cool, boom, we
Man,
gone. What you want? Go, I got you.
boy,
I told you.
I
He
told you.
had the cleanest passes, bro. He was smooth with it, bro. Like
I'm
Boris
telling
Diaw
you.
was special, bro. He was fun to watch, bro. Like
Draymond before Draymond. I'm telling you. Boys D out
everything.
crawl so Draymond could walk.
Exactly,
Telling you.
bro. Like that dude was special, bro. But I was thinking about this when we talking about Steve Novak. I got to bring him back in too. So this is the Heat team before LeBron. Like it was the reign of like it was Shaq, Alonzo Walker, Young, Udonis Haslam. But the number one shooter. This is back in the day when you had to have at least one real shooter on your team. Jason Capono. Remember Jason?
Oh, I ain't heard Jason Capono name in I don't know how long. I ain't know
That
who you was
guy.
gonna say.
That guy was special, bro. Like he won a 3-point contest, I think 3 times in a row, or not in a row, but 3 times, I think, or two or
Yeah,
3 times. So he was one of the guys because I'm a D Wade guy, so I was watching them teams when
Jason
between
Capono.
between 06 and 11 or 10, them year gaps between there before LeBron got there where they weren't as good. I was still watching because I'm a D Wade guy. That's when they had Michael Beasley as a number 2 pick. Didn't work out. Um, but Jason Capone was a fun dude. He get going, bro.
It's gonna be a
You
long
better
night.
pray. You better pray. That's the only hope you got, bro. Because that man had a burner on him, man. Like it was fun to watch him too. But Jason Capone, one of them guys that it was fun to watch, bro. Like I don't think everybody appreciated him because once again he was playing that time when the Heat weren't as good, but he was one of the best shooters in the league around that time, bro. But Jason Capone, man. Oh my
That's
goodness,
crazy.
man.
But tell you, I have not heard Jason Capono in years. Like years. That's crazy. But man, like we just gonna keep on going. Another guy I feel like we gotta give flowers to.
Oh, I thought somebody else.
Uh,
I thought somebody else.
I'm telling you, bro. Another guy we gotta give flowers to. I feel like because he kind of gets slandered now, but he don't really deserve it because people don't remember how good he was. But Kevin Love,
Oh, I
because
thought about him earlier. Yeah, K Love.
K Love before you got linked up with Braun and them, and just became the third option. K Love might give you 50 and 20, 40 and 20, 20 and 20. Like K Love was that deal, the best power forward in basketball for a minute.
Yep.
Like, and if he wasn't the best, he was easily top 5, top 3. And this at the time, Tim Duncan in the league, Kevin Garnett in the league,
Dirk.
Pau Gasol in the league, Dirk in the league. Kevin Love was definitely in them names of like top power forward. This is when power forwards were power forwards.
Yep.
Like, K Love used to give people problems in Minnesota. And nobody really cared because he was in Minnesota and they wasn't
Yep.
really doing nothing. Like I was saying, like people don't realize it's a lot of guys. It's just part of the league. It happens. But it's guys that end up on bad teams and small markets that like make noise, do things, but we never hear about them or think about them after they done playing because they didn't accomplish nothing.
Yeah.
But K Love, obviously, he got linked up with Bron, got a Marine, but we don't think about him as being dominant like he was because he was the third option. He did his job, he played well, but he was third option. And then, now he getting old, so now he not doing those things no more. But
Yeah.
but 10 years ago, man, like 10,
Oh my
15
goodness.
years ago, oh my God. It's really hard to believe how good he was. Like 30 and 20. Like, I don't know how the rebounds used to go so crazy. Like
That's the
the,
crazy part, bro. Like he can shoot that. It's I'm gonna vent a little bit. I'm gonna get on my soapbox thing. I love Cat. I love him. He's a great player. I love him. You're not the best shooting big, bro. First off, Dirk has that ring. Like that's his crown. He's number 1 through 10. So they all fighting for number 11. Like cool. Kevin Love put up 40 and 20 next night, 38 and 20 next night, 50, 18 next night. Like, bro, he was on a run. Like that scoring Terry Kobe had when he was like lighting the league up for 40s and 50 balls and 60s. Kevin Love was lighting people up for 20 and 20, 30 and 20. Like he won every single night, but he was averaging double doubles, like stupid double doubles on the run. Like not only was he getting every rebound that the team had, he would also come down and splash in your face, bro. Like, come on now. Crazy. Like, we ain't seen nobody do that since him, bro. Like, oh my good. Not 40 and 20? Not once in a while, but like it felt like you were averaging
consistently.
for a minute. Like you were averaging for it. It felt like in my heart, like another 40 and 20 game by Kevin Love next night. 38 and 18 from Kevin Love. Like, what? What are you doing here, bro? Like this. Are we playing 2K now? Because this
I'm
ain't human.
saying to be scoring at that clip and rebounding like that, that does
Crazy,
not make sense. Like
crazy.
it's insane, bro.
Oh, well, K Love was like, man, I think we talked about this in one episode, man. It's an old one, but like, he was one of my favorite power forwards of that era. Like you said, he was one of the best of that time. Um, he might have been the best big in that era. I'm talking about centers too. Like I'm
Man, you
throwing
might
Dwight
have
Howard in that mix. Dwight Howard's in that mix. Boogie's in that, and I love Boogie.
Boogie.
Boogie's in that mix too. But he had a run where like wasn't nobody touching K Love, bro. During that stretch right there, I ain't talking about all his whole career and stuff. During that stretch right there, the best big man in the game, bro. Like yeah, nothing had the rings and KG had the rings and stuff, and Dirk ended up winning his. Like during that stretch, when nobody harder than K Love, man, like that was crazy, bro. K Love, man, like
One of them ones.
he was one of
We
them,
need
man. But
we need to make all time one of them ones team. B-Ball Jones, one of them ones team. Start five.
oh
Man,
man, but it's one guy. This probably hopefully this is my last guy. I don't know yet, but we just keep bringing people up that make me think about another guy and another guy. But
facts.
he wasn't necessarily a great player, not an all-star. For that reason, he's just a favorite of mine, man. But during them Dirk years, man, Josh Howard, you remember him?
Josh, I remember.
Josh Howard was a dog, bro. Like because once again, I'm a D Wade guy, so I remember them battles they had in the finals in 06. Josh Howard was a problem, bro. Like he might have been the second best player on that team. Like it was Dirk, obviously Dirk number one, but like Josh Howard was an up and coming young guard or wing from the Wake Forest and stuff, and respectable player, good 2-way player, but he wasn't like fully developed yet, man. But his run, like he probably really is like in the shadows of most hoopers' mind because he wasn't a guy like that. But I was a
Yep.
fan of his because I remember watching that team and I was like, oh, I'm kind of Josh Howard might do a little something, bro. Like, yeah. I was nervous, man, but Josh Howard special, bro. Like he won one of the ones. I ain't throwing him in that category, but he was a real good
Not
hooper
one
to
of them
watch.
ones. You gotta get that step, man. One of them ones. Clink.
he was a good hooper though, bro. I like this game, man. But I know everybody probably like, oh, Josh Howard. But for me personally, this is our podcast, so I can name who I want to, man. Like Jesse Capono, I don't care, bro. Like, but
Jason
Josh
Capono.
Howard.
Yeah, Jason Capono. I said it. Oh goodness.
But yeah, bro. Like I like Josh. I gotta get on a higher note, man. I'm talking about Josh Howard. Hold on, man.
No one I was thinking about too. OJ
Yeah,
Mayo.
he was on
But
my when I talk about the top, he's one of them guys I want to talk about too. But
I thought
yeah,
about him when I said
OJ.
Brandon Jennings. OJ Mayo was a
Yeah,
bucket too. A little Bradley
yeah.
Beal type guy. Like you get a bucket however you need it. You know what I'm saying? He was one of them. Like I wouldn't throw him in one of them ones. Brandon Jennings one of them ones, but OJ
Now
Mayo.
wait. OJ had potential. NBA wise, he wasn't one of them ones. He was a really good bucket. You know, he won one of them ones. He didn't really get a chance to prove himself in that area. But
Yeah.
uh, before that, one of them ones. Like he was one of them.
He had a stretch.
Yeah, he had he went to USC for a year. He was in the Kevin Love draft. It was like him, Tyreek Evans.
Oh
I think
yeah.
Brandon Jennings was in that draft. He was in that era of growing up. He was like one of the first few one and done guys from that era. I remember the magazines back in the Slam magazine days when that was kind of popping for me personally in that era. They still good, but it was different back in the because magazines were popping back in the day. But I still remember seeing him on magazines, bro. Remember about hearing him come out of high school and you talking about mixtapes? He won like top tier, but he had a good mixtape, bro. His mixtape was special. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the GOAT mixtape of all time still is John Wall. I will go down on that hill, bro.
John
John Wall
Wall.
has the best mixtape of all time. I'm not debating it. It's a fact in my mind. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. John Wall had the best hoop mixtape of all time. I will go down on that hill. Anybody want to have an issue with it? Cool, you will lose because it's a fact in my mind. It's not an opinion. John Wall had the best mixtape.
Wall definitely hoop mixtape definitely went stupid. Like man,
Yeah,
Hoopers, every Hooper wanted a hoop mixtape. And it's crazy because I just know that the guys in the hoop mixtapes had nothing to do with them being made. They was just hooping. Guys was out there with cameras. And
Yeah.
a week later, hoop mixtape John Wall on YouTube.
Yep.
A couple million views. Like
Yep.
I know they ain't had nothing to do with it. Them man just hooping, going stupid. It don't even matter. But yeah,
Yeah.
John Wall got a hoop mixtape. It's up there. Definitely goaded. Brandon Jennings up there.
Yep.
Let me see who else got a five hoop mixtape.
Derrick Rose was pretty clean too. Derrick
Rose
Rose
got
was
a
clean.
good one. Ben Simmons got a good hoop mixtape, but I kind of don't count Ben because he a 6'10" point guard. It's like you supposed to be doing that in high school, you know. I kind of discredit bigs in the hoop mixtapes because it's kind of hard to tell how good you is against these guys because you know they ain't your side. But
Yeah.
like I mean, not they playing good competition, but come on, Ben, you 6'9" playing point guard, like you're supposed to be killing. Like what was they gonna do? They left algebra 2 and came in here to play a 6'10" point guard. Like come on, man, like they ain't ready for that. But I'm trying to say, like them guys had a great hoop mixtape. I want to say D'Angelo Russell had a good hoop mixtape.
It was
Uh,
cool. It was
yeah,
cool.
it was straight.
Who
But
else? Kyrie's was stupid. You remember Kyrie's?
Kyrie's was good. I remember
His was pretty
Kyrie's.
stupid. Who else?
What hoop mixtapes
I'm,
used
I'm,
to be
I'm drawing a
bang, boy.
blank now, bro. I ain't got nobody. Zion was good, but Zion, like you said, bro, like yeah,
Man,
you
them
doing that
video,
now, bro. Like, hey, come on,
man,
man. Like, come on. Like,
them videos of them, like I ain't trying to sound no type of way, but them children guarding Zion Williamson in that private school he went to, like me,
mm,
I'm looking at this
mm,
man like this ain't even cool. Like
yeah.
he putting these boys in the rim. One play I remember they threw him the ball and he drop step and like move the defender out of the way. Drop step with me, good chicken wing. Got butt up out of the dunk. I'm like, this ain't even cool at all. Like these
Yeah.
kids you playing against ain't ready for this, bro.
You
Them
going to
boys,
get a 6 foot white boy center that's probably his last year hooping, bro. Like, come
and
on,
you
man.
all a
Like,
6'6", 250 in the 12th grade. Like, come
it's
on.
not to knock him. I think that was a knock on him why people feel like he was going to be a bust in the college level because it's like, bro, like the tallest guy you're going against is like on average 6'2" white guy who can't hoop. No offense to any of those guys, but it's just the level of competition you're going against. Like Zion was entertaining, but the hooper in you was like, who is he going? Oh, you going to play him? And they're not a couple points, bro. Like if you're going against other NBA players and some like, or at least college players, it's like, oh, okay. Or if Zion was like 6'3", then it would have been like, oh, okay, all right, I see what you're working with. But come on, bro, you like 100 pounds heavier than the next guy. Like, come on, bro. Like,
Literally,
like.
literally, 100 pounds.
But yeah, man, like the hoop mixtape era. I gotta
I
correct
miss
myself. Baller's Life was in that era. I gotta correct myself on that one.
ball is life. Like
Bruh, hoop mixtape and Baller's Life was there before anybody else, bro. So those are OGs who grew up with, man. But
the kids now trying to
we
get on overtime.
yeah, it ain't the same, man. I think we talked about this before, bro. But like back in the day, people used to hoop and the game end up being highlights out of that. But nowadays, I feel like people are trying to make highlights in the game and it just ain't the same, man. Like
They taking away from the game, B. It
it
takes
ain't.
away from the game.
So yeah, man. I'm not the biggest fan of that, man. But like you said, back in the day, dudes ain't know they was getting recorded for real, until it blew up after a while. After a couple of years, like not the Brandon, but the Ben Simmons era, they probably were more aware of Baller's Life and who mixtape and stuff to where, oh, they here tonight? Oh, let me put on a little extra show or whatever. Like kind of like how it is when you know a scout in a building, so you put on a little
Right.
extra, but it still wasn't enough to be like, oh, I'm doing this to like outside of my game to get extra recognition. It's like it was still hooping, and you balled out enough to where you got highlights out of that. So That's
Facts.
one thing from the era I do miss, man. But anybody else, bro? Because we go another 16 hours on this, man. But I'm gonna try to cut it short right here.
Man, I think I'm good though, bro. Like, we named a lot of guys. Guys probably ain't heard in a long time. Gave them
Yeah.
a little bit of flowers today, so they know, man. But y'all be on the lookout for the official BeBall Jones, one of them one starting lineup coming soon.
So
Man.
give me real quick one of your favorite moments from it can be anything. I have to necessarily be one of your favorite, but give me a moment or two that you just forever remember in your brain of like this was a special moment or a special run, whatever. Or it can be like a game, a stretch somebody had, or whatever. Give me a memory or moment you have from back in the day that you just carry with you forever.
I got two. So the first one is Lynn Sanity. And
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, there was this small Chinese point guard, and I don't mean to say Chinese to sound like, to make this a race thing, but it just was a rare thing in the NBA to
Yeah.
see a Chinese point guard.
Yeah.
But a Chinese point guard named Jeremy Lin playing for the New York Knicks, barely playing, like was just on the team. I think he wasn't even on roster. I think he was in the G League or something.
Yep.
Guys on the Knicks got hurt. Like they had a couple guys get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And just for a little extra context, this man went to Harvard. Jeremy Lin played basketball at Harvard University. So you're not thinking this man finna be a great basketball player.
Yeah.
Anyway, he playing on the Knicks G League team, I want to say. A couple guys get hurt. They bring him up. He messed around, end up having to start, I think, because they had like a
Mm-hmm.
couple guys that played the point guard position get hurt at the time.
Yeah.
And this man gets in the NBA and starts going stupid, like
Took
going
over.
crazy. Took over. Keep in mind now, on this same New York Knicks team happens to be one of the most considered ball hogging players in recent history in Carmelo Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Like a player who demands the ball, Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
Jeremy Lin, the point guard from Harvard that just came up from the G League, takes over a stretch of games playing alongside Carmelo Anthony. Going crazy, unheard of, comes out of nowhere, is dubbed Lin Sanity.
I
And
think
I
I think I think
go ahead.
Melo was hurt when he first got his run going because
I
they
think
had a
that
lot
was
of
true too.
injuries. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Melo was hurt when it first came in.
But then when Melo came back, he was still
He
going
was still
crazy.
cooking, yeah.
And one of the memories I have of that, I remember when it was going on. I wasn't really watching the Knicks, but I watched like one game. But this is one of the memories I have of that time. I'm watching Sports Center after a different game. They started showing
Mhm.
highlights from the game that he had just played. Lynn Sanity was going on. He had like 30 points, 30 some points. He hit a buzzer beater. I want to say he was in Houston. Like they was playing against Houston. He hit a buzzer beater and to win the game, like a game winner. The crowd going stupid, and they go back to the guy on at the desk at Sports Center, and he like, and just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, yes, that footage is in Houston. Crowd going
Mm.
stupid. He hit the game winner. They team just lost. They're going crazy because it's like, who is this dude? Why is he going fed? Like everybody's cheering for this man because it's like he like a success story. And so this man getting fans in other arenas. So
Mhm.
that's one of my memories from them old days that I ain't never forgot. And
Mhm.
then I can't lie, this might not really count as like the old. It's kind of the old days because it was the OKC days, the KD OKC days, KD and Russ.
Don't say it.
You know what I'm finna say. Steph Curry. they down to. Oh no, was they tied? They was one on
I
last
think they
second.
would. I think they were down.
They down? Okay.
I think
They
so.
get the board for a last second shot. They get the board with like 8 seconds left. They get the step. They said Warriors rebound. Mike Breen on call. Of course, Mike Breen on the call. They get the stuff. They said Warriors get rebound. They have a timeout. They decide not to use it. Steph takes 3 steps and pass half court on the left sideline. As this happened, I want to say we was in Florida or something. Me and my daddy and my brother was on vacation somewhere in Florida. I think we went to visit some family. We sitting in the hotel watching the game. My daddy said Steph finna hit the game with me. And I kid you not, B, he said that Steph took 3 steps past half court, let that thing fly. Cash, all net, won the game. And I just like what? I genuinely believe. You ain't gotta agree with me. Nobody have to agree with me, but this is just me. I genuinely believe that shot against OKC changed basketball forever. That is the shot where Steph Curry changed basketball. How everybody say Steph Curry changed the world of basketball. I believe that shot is like the Big Bang Theory of the change in basketball. They had a timeout, could have called it and advanced the ball, whatever, and ran a play. They said, "Nah, Steph, go ahead, you got it." 3 steps past half court, launched a three confidently. Nobody on the team complained. Nobody like, what is he doing? Nothing. Bro said, took them three dribbles past half. I was like, all right, this close enough. Bang. Won the game. It's what? I'll never forget it. I watched it live. I'll never forget it. That game, I just genuinely believe that game changed basketball forever. That shot. And so it's been burned in my memory ever since. Like, dang, bro. Like, Steph Curry. And then, the rest is history.
And that's a memory I've been trying to not remember. And you brought it back up. So, like.
I had to, bro. That shot changed the world in my mind. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, because the reason it burned me so much, bro, because like I said before, I'm a big Westbrook fan, but like we said earlier, the OKC KDs, I was like, I don't think you could have been a hooper and not like love that KD. Like I think that's why it hurt so much because we love KD so much, man. But from my perspective of that memory, that was a bad memory because I'm once again a huge Westbrook is my guy. Like I'm a Westbrook fan. I love KD and his game. So I think one of them hit the game or the game winner to not the game winner, but the situation to get them up, the shot to get them up, right? So I was like, oh yes, we good. I think it was Westbrook. That was extra hype. I remember. So they inbound the ball, throw it to Steph. He started cruising up the court. Usually about 8 seconds, he's trying to get up to where you might
sprint.
So in my mind, I'm like, he finna pull it. He cruised. He finna pull it. I think Andre Robinson was guarding him. Garbage. Yes, it was garbage. My bad. I was right. Or garbage him because he did not pull up in his face. I was like, the closer he got to half court, I was like, please step up. Somebody step up. What he said? 3 steps past half court. I was like, no.
Cold-blooded, boy.
Oh man, that threw me off so bad, bro. Because I was like so confident. Because it was the Warriors before the Warriors were the Warriors. They were a really good team. OKC was building up, and it was like a back and forth between those two. So it was like, both these young teams looking good. We seen which one gonna have a better punch. It's gonna be them and them for a couple years, man. And like, I was like, oh, we needed that game too because it was such a good game, and I think that might have been going to playoff time. I don't remember. I don't remember. It was a game we needed for whatever reason. I'm saying we like I'm a fan, but the team needed to like proceed moving forward. And I was just like, oh, that's one of the deflating losers, bro. Like, even if that wasn't like the end of time, if say we had another shot, I don't know if you would have made it, bro, just because of that the energy it took out the building. Because I'm pretty sure that was in OKC. So like for you to have the stuff in you to sit here and take that kind of shot in an away game, in a big game like that, yeah, that means you special, like one of them ones.
You one of them ones.
That was one of them one moments, bro. So.
And Steph Curry is definitely one of them ones.
Yes, bro. If anybody debate that, you do not deserve to talk about basketball ever again in your life because you sound crazy. But that was a bad memory for me, man. But I think on my end, bro, the memory one that always it's two. I'm being biased one on, but one memory that I always have, bro, is 2006 Eastern Conference Finals when LeBron went against the Detroit Pistons. It was 06-07, one of them. Bruh proceeded to score 25 straight points by himself. 25 between fourth quarter and overtime. LeBron, like I was thinking about this a couple days ago, bro. LeBron scored 25 points in let's throw the whole fourth quarter in there. So in 17 minutes of play, he scored 25 points. Think about that. Like people score 25 points in a game. Teams score 25 points in a quarter by themselves. This man scored that in a little over a quarter by himself in a row. Like nobody else scored a bucket between that point in fourth quarter to overtime. It was a LeBron James show, and that was when the Detroit Pistons was still they was like kind of declining, but they were still like one of the best defensive teams in the league. So that was like a shocker, bro. Like LeBron, that was the stamp of that was probably the stamp of him being one of the ones.
Yeah.
I think that was the run to the finals that year. So it might have been 07 when he lost to the Spurs. But that was, bruh, when I tell you, I'm not like a LeBron fan per se, but it made me a big fan of him. I think it had to be 07 because I remember rooting for him that year. Like, took over. Like, I still to this day, I don't think we've seen anything like that to where somebody scored 25 points by himself like that. So it was just like, that was a memory for me that I'll probably never forget that just stamped in my memories to where it was like LeBron special. Like, that's crazy. 25 by himself in a row. That was crazy. And then the 06 finals for D Wade. Of course, I'm super biased with that because once again, I'm a D Wade fan, but that man was going crazy. Like now, a specific play that I remember was in the final. So, he was driving to the goal and he got fouled. And this is one of the moments that I took from D Wade to where I remember going outside trying to do this too, and I ended up doing it. And dudes hated me, but it was funny. But he was I used to have a poster. I probably still got the poster somewhere in my room, but I got a poster of this shot too. He went to the goal and got fouled. So imagine the goal's behind me. He was like this looking down, threw the ball over his head, and the ball went in. Crowd going stupid after that. Cause it was just like I gotta put the video in right here because people don't understand how crazy the shot was, bro. Like, dude not even looking at the goal. Like he got, you know how you get fouled and you still might try to get the and one. He got fouled. Where am I landing at? Threw the ball over his head, got the bucket. I'm like, I don't know why I always remember that play, but it's just crazy to me, man. And then I remember like in the finals too, bro. So it was like, yeah, that's crazy. But I remember going outside doing that jump, bro. Like, dude fouled me. I intentionally looked down. I could have looked at the goal, looking down, but throwing over my head. Man, how you make that be? D Wade.
D Wade.
Man.
D Wade. What can I say?
So then he made a couple collabs like that back to back. He was always known for having the craziest finishes, bro. Like the craziest layups ever. And like he'd be like, "How'd you make that, bro? Like, how'd you know where the rim at?" D Wade would be like, "Hey, it's a bucket. I don't know, man, but that's two moments that stick out for me, man." It's two moments that stick out for me. With like LeBron going at a run by himself, scoring 25 in a row against the Pistons. It wasn't like a decline. It was like I think he might start a decline. That's what it was, bro. I don't know, but
them boys said, maybe the game that passed me by. You know what? This young cat that came in did that. You know what, Chauncey? Hey, you said everything.
Like never in my life I've been scored on like this. It might be time for me to hang him up, bro. So I think that's the year Rip might have left and went to Detroit. I mean, with the Chicago. I think she might have left. Everybody just left the team after that. Like she went to the Celtics a couple years after that, man. Yeah. Tayshaun went to Memphis, and I remember with Chauncey might have went to the Nuggets after that. So it's just like that man broke up the whole team.
Them boy probably sat in the locker room in silence, like.
Larry Brown probably came in. It was like, hey, he probably just walked by.
Man,
Larry Brown
you
probably.
what?
Larry Brown probably didn't say nothing. He just like he walked in the locker room. He just like pack my stuff up, get ready for the shower, post game talk. Ain't nothing to say, bro. Like we throw every scheme at him, double team, triple team. Like everybody just like,
Hey boy, hey boy, when you lose games like that, hold on. For our YouTube viewers, when you lose games like that, this is how you come in the locker room. This is what you do. You just start taking your shoes off, cuz. Just go start taking your shoes off. You look around, you know, you gonna look around, look at your teammates, make sure everybody kind of, yeah, everybody see what I just seen.
yo.
All right. So go take these shoes off, cuz.
Like, that did happen, right? That happened. Okay, I ain't tripping. All right, hold on, man. Like, just get up out of here, man. Like, ain't nothing to say.
You gotta do it though. You gonna look around like. Hey, it's like you worked a 12-hour shift, boy. Like something, it been backbreaking. Like, dang, boy, that happened. Yeah. All right, go on, get up out of here. I ain't gotta say no words. It's like, go on, get up out of here, y'all. They did it to us today.
Yeah, because that was special, bro. So that was a memory that I forever remember, bro. Like that young LeBron. Oh my goodness, man. That man was a menace, man. But that's probably the two memories I have, man. I just take with me, bro. Like telling my kids, man, you know, LeBron James scored 25 in a row with fourth quarter and overtime. I'm like, okay, granddad, told the story 10 times already. Like, what's next? Like,
that's crazy. My dad would really be like that about Michael Jordan. He would really do that. Tell me the same things. Like, I've heard it 1,000 times. And it always start the same way. See, that's like Jordan. Like, when you say that, I'd be like,
here we go.
I'm finna hear the same thing 20 times. See, that's like Jordan. Jordan couldn't shoot threes. He said one day he was in the gym shooting. He went to the weight room, came back shooting, went back to the weight room. I'm like, man, Dad, okay, brother, man, learn how to shoot a three, bro. Like what? I done heard that so many times. I can't be like that to my kids. If anything, I'm telling them what I did, not what no LeBron did or nothing. But man,
that was a good moment for me, bro. I can't let go, man, because I'm just amazed, bro. Like, it wasn't like he just did it in the game where just anybody, bro. It's like the premier defensive team at that time. So they proceeded to get smacked by the Spurs, but we ain't gonna talk about that one. Nobody wants to remember that one. But
hey, he already, he got his one of them one stamp already. He good. Yeah. Now the rest of y'all.
Yeah, the rest of y'all suspects here.
Berajal and Ilgaskis and Mo Williams, not one of them ones. Eric Snow.
What are you doing, brother? Like, Booby. What are you doing here, Booby? Booby Gibson.
Booby Gibson.
Not one of them. What are we doing here, bro? What 25? You can't get a free throw, a layup? Come on now. Nothing.
Man.
Nothing. All right, that's what we're doing here.
Bron should have walked in the locker room and said, y'all definitely not one of them ones. But me, I'm one of them ones. I'm the leader of not one of them ones.
I'm the MVP of one of them ones. All right, I took the crown.
I'll tell
this,
you.
This is your king? This is your king? Huh? Him? I'm the king now.
I'm the king. I'm one of them ones. I'm the king. I'm the initiator. This might have to be the name of the podcast. One of them. That might be the title.
One of them ones, man. But that's all I got, bro, because we can go another 16 hours, bro. So 30 hours talking about nostalgia and players we didn't just random thought of and teams and moments. But that's all I got, bro.
Man, same, bro. We, like you said, we go on forever, man. But we definitely gotta jump back in for another one when we like for part 2 or something. Where, you know, when we get into the young guys, man. Like, we definitely gotta we gave our flowers to our generation, our older guys, the guys we came up with. But we gotta go next time. We gotta give some love to the guys playing now and the guys that's up and coming. So y'all be on the lookout for that one, man. But that'll do it for this episode, man. We hope y'all enjoyed it. Everybody that's our age, man, I'm sure y'all sitting around listening to it like, yeah, I remember Jason Capono. Like, yeah. Man, I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. I'm telling you. But that does it for us, man. So y'all let us know some of y'all favorite players, man, and let's drop them in the comments. Some guys you used to love watching, you came up watching and loving, and things like that, man. So be sure to like and subscribe and leave those comments down below. But other than that, man, follow Brian on all social medias at BeBall Jones. That's BeBall Jones on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Be sure to follow the podcast on TikTok. We got a couple videos up on there already, so go show love to that. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at NellyH34. And then Nelson.Haskin on IG and just my name on Facebook. And we keep the conversation going on over there. But that does it for us in another episode of the BeBall Jones podcast, man. We hope y'all enjoyed it. Like I said, be sure to like and subscribe and tune in next week, man. But without further ado, we out.